Welcome to the Celtics practice facility. This is the Garden Report on CLNS Media Network and Celtics blog. I'm Jared Weiss. This is Nick Gelsa right here. And above us will be banner 18 pretty soon because the Celtics just got the #1 pick in the NBA draft in 2017. They are in full control of could be the Markelle Fultz sweepstakes, could be the Lonzo Ball sweepstakes, hell, could be the Jason Tatum, Josh Jackson, De'Aaron Fox. Who knows?
So
the point is
options.
they have control of this draft, and that is an extremely advantageous position for any team that's looking to get better soon. For a team that's in the Eastern Conference Finals, that is remarkable place to be. Now, you've been watching this team play since before Bill Russell was born. I mean, this is the first time they've gotten some real luck here. What do you think at this moment?
Oh man, I'm not you try not to be a fan, but you get the chills. The Celtics finally got that #1 draft pick in the lottery, and the last time they had it, I believe, was Len Bias. I mean, so
that was the #2 pick. Actually,
that was a 2, but I mean, that was when the optimism was that high. My question to you, Jared, is everybody's talking Markelle Fultz. How does Markelle and Isaiah? You heard Danny today say Isaiah could fit with everybody.
So here's the main thing. So one, the idea of position isn't necessarily a thing when it comes to the backcourt. It's like they're both guards. The question, I mean, there'd be an interesting issue maybe down the line when Markelle becomes a really good player, assumedly, of who's going to be the primary ball handler. But really, they can just mix it up as much as they want. They could have 2 elite point guards on this team. And Markelle Fultz is 6'4". He's got, I think, at least a 6'10" wingspan. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And he can shoot from pretty much everywhere. You know, so far the shooting that he's exhibited in college basketball is more of the college three-pointer than the NBA three-pointer, but he clearly shows the ability to improve there, to take a couple steps back. Most guys are able to take a couple steps back after a couple years. His free throw percentage would indicate that he probably has a good chance to be a decent three-point shooter. He could be a James Harden-esque player, and James Harden just won, or he didn't win MVP. Yeah, he won in my book, but he's an MVP caliber player. Markelle Fultz has potential like that. And you can put that guy next to Isaiah Thomas because either way, that guy is going to be defending whoever the better player is. It's not going to dramatically really change the situation there. But Markelle, even though he's a point guard by the quality of his play, not the necessity of his size. He can play 2. He could probably even grow to play 3 at some point in certain situations. It doesn't really matter whether he's a small forward because the Celtics run 3-guard lineups like as if it's their regular lineup all the time.
So how does it impact Isaiah's game, though? How will Isaiah play differently? You don't see much because Alv really fit in, took him off the ball.
He'll be better. He'll just be better. You put him next to a better scorer.
I think a lot of fans are saying, you can't have both. In this scenario, you can. You said that last night.
It's why we have this show, so that we can teach you that you can have both.
Even I learned.
It's really not even questionable. You know, Lonzo Ball, if he ends up being that guy, I think that would work as well. I mean, there's a lot to learn about Ball's game. There's a lot of issues, which I know Kevin O'Connor at the Ringer has gone into. I was just talking about it with a few people here. Yep. I mean, something we'll get more into as this draft process happens. But Fultz is clearly the #1 at this point. There's obviously a lot that could happen. I mean, last year, Jaylen Brown was not the consensus third guy on the roster.
Shocked
and then
everyone with that pick.
Going through the pre-draft process, he really climbed up those boards, and it's looking like a pretty good pick at this point. Kind of really good. I mean, the next best player was Jamal Murray at #6. But so the Celtics are in an ideal position here. Draft-wise, it's perfect. Trade-wise, though, that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I would not trade Markelle Fultz necessarily for one of these guys. That's a really difficult question, and that's a question that will evolve over the next couple months, or a month and a half, I guess. But they have a leverage now that they didn't have before. This is something I asked Danny about in his post-game press conference. Is you stood pat at the deadline, not you, Danny did.
Right.
You did as well.
I did too.
And that was a risk he was taking a risk on where that pick would fall because that pick at 4 is not the same as that pick at 1.
Right.
And he got lucky. And it showed that patience paid off. And he said that he hates being patient. He loves action. But they have a great staff, and they have the ability to be patient because they believe in their staff and their organization and their players. And that paid off because they're in the conference finals regardless. They got further than the Raptors and the Magic, who both made, or Magic, the Wizards, that both made trades and traded away first-round picks to get bench players that didn't get them far enough.
Right.
So the Celtics didn't do that. They still got farther. And next year, they're going to have more assets. They have the ability to, I mean, they don't have to. The only way that they trade this pick is for an elite All-NBA player. And I think Paul George it's a really tough decision whether or not to do it. Right now, I'm leaning no, but they also just won the lottery, so I'll see how I feel 2 days from now. It's
Jared. So Markelle or Ball, let's say Markelle, everybody's talking Markelle. How much playing time does he get right off the bat?
I mean, Jalen was eased into it. I don't think Markelle will be eased into it in the same way. But unless they trade away Smart or Bradley, there's going to be plenty of good players in front of them. So, I mean, that would be really interesting. He'll be playing 25 minutes a night, and I think he'll, as good as Jalen is, he's at a different level than Jalen, and I think he's NBA ready at a different level than Jalen. So I think right off the bat, even early in the season, he would be getting a lot of time.
A lot of talk about, before we wrap, a lot of talk about Avery Bradley, Marcus Smart. Will they get traded before the contracts expire? Thoughts now? Does this impact that at all?
You would have to imagine it, and we know that Danny has not had a problem trading guys before their contracts expire. That's how we ended up in this situation with Pierce and Garnett.
Speaking of Pierce, great tweet tonight. He basically told the world he's still giving the Celtics assists.
He's retired and he's still contributing to the winning culture with the Celtics. It's incredible. I would be surprised if one of Smart or Bradley is still here next season if they draft Fultz, or Rozier maybe. Avery Bradley is a free agent. It's coming up. Marcus Smart's also a free agent coming up. They have the ability to retain Smart, and his cost is a little bit controlled because it's coming off his rookie deal. Contract, while Avery's looking at maybe $25 million at the top of his market value. That's a massive commitment there. I mean, the big question would be obviously what happens in free agency this offseason. Because if they get a free agent, then there's a little bit more, and they draft Fultz, there's a little bit more impetus to move Bradley. I mean, those are unknowns that we just can't really address at this point, but we can lay it all out there what the possibilities are.
Before we wrap, let's look back at last summer, prior to Al Horford coming here. Prior to Al Horford coming here, the difference with this franchise right now, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals, free agent signed last summer, #1 draft pick. We're talking about somewhat of a glut of talent where we might be moving people around, meaning the Celtics. How much of a difference is it day and night last year to this year? And the Celtics are on a trajectory to be able to pick up free agents because people want to come here.
Yeah, if it talk about day and night, it's like last year was like the dawn. It was like 5 in the morning. You can hear the birds chirping. You can see a little bit of orange on the horizon. Now it's high noon. And they're right there. The afternoon sun is on its way, and that's when they have that great team that can win the title. They are about to peak in their roster building capability. They're about to have the #1 pick, which means they can either take a potential elite player or they can probably trade for an elite player, and they could carve out enough cap space to acquire another elite player. So this is probably the best that they're going to be able to build, at least the biggest moves that they're going to be able to make in the foreseeable future. Obviously, they could get another top 5 pick next year, which is still insane. I still can't believe that. And there's that Memphis pick coming down the pike, which that could turn into something in 2021 or so.
How brilliant does Danny Ainge look?
Oh, I mean, he's always looked brilliant. He didn't need this. Now
this
it's like absurd.
Beyond. This is Red Auerbach type stuff because Danny's becoming kind of like the trickster, right? And the patience. I mean, you talk about this. 3 years ago, traded Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. To be patient that long to see this through really wasn't a long rebuild. On that note, we'll be back here tomorrow. Yeah,
this has been an historic rebuild so far. We'll be back tomorrow in the actual Garden to cover Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron James. We'll leave you on this one. The lottery combination was 71910. If you add up 71910, you get 18, banner 18. I asked that question in the press conference. It was laughed out of the stadium, but you know what?
We'll have fun with it here to be honest
on the Garden Report. So that'll do it for the Garden Report here at the Waltham Practice Facility. We will see you tomorrow for Cavs and Celtics Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Baby.
Peace.